start with chapter number 4, that is tribals, Dikus and the vision of golden age. So in the year 1895, small village nested with the Chota Nagpur region of Bihar, now Jharkhand. A man named Birsa became a household name, and it is believed to possess extraordinary power and almost like a magician who could free people, especially tribals, from clutches of Dikus. So which is meant outsider, those who were not the part of tribal community, right? And notably not only Munda but people from other tribal groups, जैसे आपके संथाल्स हो गए, औरंस हो गए, they started to follow him, and this was a time when the way of life and the unique religion practices of these tribal communities were under the threat due to British colonial rule. So in 18th century marked by the several uprisings in India, amongst them the Munda revolt stood, and the prime reason of this revolt was the harsh and inhuman treatment that the British colonial rulers meted out of the tribal community. Birsa जो थे वो broadly proclaimed that exploitative policies, and British favored जमींदार और मनी लेंडर्स जो क्या कर रहे थे, जो अपोज कर रहे थे आदिवासी को. His rallying cry was, "Let the kingdom of the queen was ended and our kingdom established." तो क्वीन का किंगडम उसको आप एंड करो और हमारे किंगडम को स्टैब्लिश करो, ये चाहते. So Birsa himself was captured and imprisoned, eventually passing away in custody. His sacrifice did not go in vain, but British government जो थी, they enacted Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act, a significant victory for the tribe. Now tribes as झूम कल्टिवेटर, नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न रीजन का जो आपके ट्राइब्स हैं नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न रीजन के, दे प्रैक्टिस यूनिक फॉर्म ऑफ कल्टिवेशन, हम झूम कल्टिवेशन कहते हैं. ये क्या इन्वॉल्व करता है? फार्मिंग ऑन अ स्मॉल पीस ऑफ लैंड टू प्रिपेयर लैंड फॉर कल्टिवेशन. The tribal cultivators थे, they would cut down trees and burn the vegetation. वो trees को cut down करते थे और vegetation को burn करते थे, and trees were fallen with axes and the soil was prepared by scratching. और जो seeds थे उनको scattered करा जाता था और after harvesting farmer would move to another piece of land, allowing to cultivate field to recover its fertility. उसकी जो fertility है उसको क्या कर सकते, recover कर सकते. Now tribes as hunter and gatherer. देखो अब कुछ उड़ीसा और सेंट्रल इंडिया के ट्राइब्स की बात करते हैं. Here the different tribes are given of the different states. You can see and learn them. In various regions, tribal communities sustain their way of life by hunting animals and gathering natural resources. वो regular hunting expedition पे involved थे, sharing meat equally among themselves. Their diet included fruits, roots and oil extracted from sal and mower. Now we have local weavers and leather workers reeled on the Kalas flower, essential for dyeing and leather and clothing. These forest-dwelling people, they traded their forest produce for rice and grains, items not readily available in their surroundings. Some also worked in the field took various good odd jobs to support themselves. Bagana tribes in central India sustained solely on forest resources, and their reliance on traders and moneylenders for products not locally produced led to mounting debt and poverty among these tribal groups. Right? Now tribal as herders of animals. North India और South India के जो tribals थे वो animal herders थे. Right? So another way in which many tribal groups sustain themselves वो क्या थे? वो herding करते थे, animals की raising करते थे, rearing करते थे, and pastoralists they move their herds with example including जैसे वन गुजर्स हो गए और कुल्लू हो गए और बकरवाल्स हो गए कश्मीर. Now we have tribals at settled cultivator. Chota Nagpur Plateau. As the 19th century unfolded, several tribal groups transitioned from the traditional way and began settling down to cultivate their land. They started to plow and cultivate land previously gone, and notably जो मुंडास थे आपके छोटा नागपुर के, they adopted this settled way of life. They collectively have equal rights to the land, and some efficient member of the community would lease their land instead of cultivating it personally. So the British regarded those living in the forest as untamed or primitive, और हम क्या believe करते हैं? It's necessary to encourage them to settle down and what to adopt more civilized people. हमें ज़्यादा civilized लोगों का करना adopt करना. Now what happened to tribal chiefs before British arrived in India? जो tribal chiefs थे उनकी एक significant power थी और एक influence था. They had control over economy and administration. In some places they had their own police and rules for managing land and forest. So when the British came, the tribal chiefs जो थे, they lost their lives in authority. Now what happened to shifting cultivators? The British wanted to change the way tribals live. They preferred tribals to be settled as farmers because it was easier to control them this way. and it also meant the British could collect taxes more regularly. जो ब्रिटिश है वो more regularly क्या करेंगे, taxes को collect करेंगे. Some farmers were owners of the land while others become the tenants, and tenants had to pay rent to the landowners, and in turn they have to pay taxes also. Now we have forest laws and their impact. So tribals depend heavily on forest on their way of life. Any changes in the forest law affected directly. It produced timber, जिसको हम reserve forest कहते हैं. So in these forest, tribals were not allowed to freely use the resources. और क्या practice करें, zoom cultivation. So the British faced a problem too, and they needed labor to work in the forest. So they allowed zoom cultivators to settle near the forest. Or in Britain, these settlers had to provide above of the forest department. Right? So we had tribal issue with traders during 19th century. Tribal noticed that traders और जो money lenders थे, they started coming to the forest more often. और वो क्या ऑफर करते थे, कैश लोन्स. और ब्रिटिश को क्योंकि क्या चाहिए होते, रॉ सिल्क चाहिए होते. Now tribals in search of work. In these days, tribals often found themselves traveling to distant land in pursuit of employment. So what they did, vast tea plantation were burgeoning of Jharkhand, where mining activities were taking root. Right, the individual who hired them, known as contractor, compelled them to toil for extended hours while offering meager wages. Next, we have a closer look. During 19th and 20th century, various tribal communities across the nation rose in rebellion, and changes in the law that affected their lives. New and burdensome taxes were imposed upon the tribals. Right, the Santhals rebellion, Bastar rebellion, जो सेंट्रल इंडिया के थे, वर्ली रिवोल्ट थे महाराष्ट्र के 1940. Now let's study about the case study. We have Coal Rebellion. So in this year 1820, Coals of Chotanagpur fiercely resisted the institution of British official. They put on a tenacious fight against the British authority. Now Munda Rebellion erupted in 1830. It protested against the British imposed changes revenue. Now thousands of foreign settlers lost their life, and the British, they managed to suppress the rebellion by 1836. Now Santhal Rebellion unfolded 1855-56. Unlike other revolts, this uprising was primarily directed against oppressive zamindars and mahajans rather than the British. So आपके दो prominent figures थे rebellion के, that brother Kamhu Sindhu. What they did, they played a vital role in serving the postal and railway. और उन्होंने अटैक भी करा यूरोपियंस बंगलोज. Let's study about the case study of Birsa Munda. Born in mid 1870, was a prominent rebel against the British. So hailing from humble background, he spent his early tending ship. Right, it's participated in a local akhara dance as a young man. Birsa Munda captivated by the tales of Munda rebellion. Birsa attended local missionary school, where he was told that Mundas could attain independence and reclaim their lost right if they embrace Christianity. Right, deeply what happened, they affected by these early teaching. Birsa encouraged Mundas to forsake alcohol and maintain clean village and believes in democracy. In 1895, Birsa called upon all his followers to strive to revival, and he denounced the arrival of Satyug and the age of truth, during which the Munda could lead prosperous life. The British government opposed the political objective and sought to exploit the British missionary, moneylenders and Hindu landlords, aiming to establish Munda Raj. So we can say that upon his release, Birsa embarked on the village to garner support, utilizing symbol and language to incite war. He urged to overthrow Ravanus. Right? And the white flag became a symbol of Birsa Raj, and in 1900 Birsa succumbed to cholera and weakening the movement. And the movement achieved several significant outcomes. Firstly, क्या था? It compelled the British to enact law preventing easy seizure of tribal land. Secondly, it demonstrated the strength of resilience, and they preserved through the sheer determination and devising their own rituals. So the sacrifice made by their leader Birsa were not in vain. Right? This is all about in this chapter. Now we will do the exercise. Now let's start with the exercise. First is tick the correct option. Who was Birsa Munda? He was a tribal leader and rebel. What did Birsa believe by running a Munda way of life? Hindu landlords. The Munda rebellion was primarily directed against moneylenders and landlords. Now, which method of cultivation involved burning vegetation to enrich the soil? That is Jhum cultivation. Next is, what was the rallying cry of Birsa Munda? End the kingdom of the queen. हम क्या करेंगे? Queen के kingdom को end करें. Now fill in the blanks with correct answer. First is Birsa Munda hailed from the dash tribe of many tribal groups. तो कौन सी tribe थी? Munda tribe. The Munda rebellion was ignited a popular revolt that ranged from कब से शुरू हुआ था? 1899 to. The unique cultivating method practiced by tribes in northeastern region is known as Jhum cultivation. Tribes in central India who subsidized solely on forest resources, they were known as hunter-gatherer tribe. A British introduced something called dash settlement to change the way tribal live. Now match the following. First is Kon tribe, northern eastern Asia, Bega, herding animal, 1 Gujars. Kon tribe, northeastern region, Bega, herding animal, 1 Gujars. Settled cultivation. Birsa Munda, Santhal rebellion. And Chota Nagpur Plateau Jhum cultivation. Now state whether the following statement are true or false. First is Birsa Munda hailed from wealthy family. False. The Santhal rebellion was directly primarily against British. It's true. Next is Jhum cultivation involves planting the same crop every year. False. The British introduced forest law जिन्होंने allow करा tribals को to freely use forest resources. Birsa Munda, it's false. Birsa Munda rebellion did not lead to any significant changes on the tribal group. It's false. Now answer the following in short. Who was Birsa Munda and why did he become a significant figure? ठीक है, कौन था बिरसा मुंडा? वो एक सिग्निफिकेंट फिगर क्यों बने? एंड व्हाट डज द टर्म डिकूज रेफर टू एंड हु वर कन्हू एंड सिंधु? आपको प्रैक्टिस बताने जूम कल्टीवेशन के, उनको कहाँ कहाँ प्रैक्टिस किया जाता है. व्हाट इम्पैक्ट दैट फॉरेस्ट लॉज हैव ऑन ट्राइबल, कि फॉरेस्ट लॉ का इम्पैक्ट क्या पड़ा ट्राइबल कम्युनिटीज. नाउ आंसर द फॉलोइंग शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन. डिस्क्राइब द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ बिरसा मुंडा रोल इन मुंडा रिबेलियन. How did the British colonial rule affect traditional way of life? ठीक है, जो ट्रेडिशनल वे लाइफ के रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिसेस को उन्होंने कैसे करा, आपको बताना है. कंसेप्ट ऑफ सेटल्ड कल्टीवेशन. राइट. नाउ डिस्कस द नोट ऑफ ट्राइबल चीफ बिफोर एंड आफ्टर द अराइवल ऑफ ब्रिटिश इन इंडिया. हाउ डिड ट्रेडर्स एंड मनी लेंडर, जो ट्रेडर्स हैं मनी लेंडर्स, वो क्या एक्सप्लॉइट कर रहे हैं ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी. व्हाट आर द मेन रीजन ऑफ ट्राइबल अपराइजिंग इन वेरियस रीजन. हाउ डिड द ब्रिटिश अटेम्प्ट टू चेंज द लाइफस्टाइल ऑफ द ट्राइबल. Now answer the following in long. First is explore the life and contribution of Birsa Munda. आपको डिटेल में बताना उनके beliefs, उनके actions, उनके impact क्या थे उस rebellion. Compare and contrast the various ways in life in which tribal communities in India sustain themselves, including Jhum cultivation, hunting and gathering. Analyze the effect of British forest law on the livelihood and the resistance of tribal communities. Discuss the transformation of tribal chief roles and authority before the British colonialism. How did this change and affect tribal society? You have to examine the challenges faced by the tribal communities due to their interaction with traders. Evaluate the motives behind the British government efforts. जिससे आप क्या कर सकते हो? Settled cultivation को increase कर सकते हो. Provide an overview of the major tribal uprising in northeastern India. जो आपका क्या include करता है? Coal rebellion, Munda rebellion and Santhal rebellion. And what were the causes and outcome of this? आपको causes और outcomes चाहिए. Next we have you have to do the political map and next is your homework. Right? This is all about in this chapter. Let's meet in the next class. Thank you.